something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Well, g'day, folks. How are you? A little earlier tonight because, like last night, I've got something else on tonight. It turns out I get these things happening late. So I only found out I had something on about, an hour and a half ago. So my apologies if I'm a bit out of sequence and coming to you early. It's been a hell of a day. I've been up since 6:30 trying to get interviews lined up. I had 3 lined up for today, and not one of them has come through. I was going to be speaking with a very interesting soul who runs julianassange.com. We will make that happen, although the person in charge, Chief Sands, is a bit reticent to come on and show their face. And I said, well, you don't have to show your face, but they seem to be glued to WhatsApp and Twitter or X and Spaces, and I don't do Spaces. Don't even know how to do a space, but Guru's offered to help me. I don't know. Is that something you guys are up for? Are you into Twitter Spaces? Let me know if that is the case. If you want one, I guess we can do it. But you know me and Twitter, not real flash. At any rate, that one fell over because of an inability to want to appear on camera. And an inability to understand you didn't have to, because we have Bob on a regular basis, as you know, and Bob doesn't like to show his face. He was my second interview today. Bob was going to be tonight's guest. And because of time zones and whatnot where Bob is, we had to record that earlier this morning. At least we went to try to. My computer is having no end of problems, particularly when it comes to email. This morning when I was trying to send out the links to come in and do the interviews, the computer wouldn't work. In fact, Gmail was shutting down every time I tried to bring it up to send, something just off webmail. Wouldn't work. And Microsoft Outlook wouldn't work. And the other clients that I have here didn't work. Could not get an email out. In fact, I'm still not sure that any emails have got out. Today. I'm waiting for a couple of replies, so fingers crossed. But don't know what the hell's going on. So unfortunately, time ran out to fix that issue, and Bob had to depart. So we won't get Bob until next week again now, because he's a very busy man. Now, this isn't the Bob that's been having a go. I don't even know if that Bob's still having a go. Nobody cares. Nobody listens. That'd be one of those Twitter Spaces things. They like to get in their own little space and hear themselves echo. Doesn't do much for me. So anyway, different Bob, and our Bob next week, you never know, there might be a bit of a reveal in that. Hey, how's the sound tonight? Can I ask you? I have been working on the sound. In fact, you should see me tapping into thin air, and you should hear me hitting the microphone. Don't know if it's working for you, but if it is, please give me a thumbs up. Or I can see that Sunflower, God love her, first in the room tonight, is also asking you to give us a thumbs up if you received a notification tonight. Now, I put this show together, I think, with just over 30 minutes left, so you should have had plenty of time. I think it's a 20-minute notification process, so notifications should have gone out, but we'll see how they work. Oh, that's not working very well. I've left my phone way over there and not on mute. That's likely to keep going on for a while tonight, so I'll have to play you something so I can go and turn that thing on to mute. Now, what can I play you? Well, heck, do you want to see what I've been doing recently? Of course, I've been trying to build a bit of a rustic kind of seat for, what turns out to be the graveside of Achilles. We have a lot of wood on this property, hard wood. And I decided that a little chair, bench kind of thing shouldn't be too hard to build. Shouldn't be too hard to build, says he. Anyway, we are progressing with it. Howdy, folks. I reminder if you're wondering how the bench seat is going. So it's coming along slowly. I'll show you a few pictures. Little way left to go when it comes to the sanding. And then we'll stain it. It's meant to have a bit of a rustic look, I think. So we'll see how it goes. If you want one of these, you too can have one. Carl at bofhq.com. We got a bit of wood, we can make you one. And you'll come away with something exciting for your money. How does that sound? Have a look at this. So there you go. That's the bench seat as it currently is at the moment. Not finished, but getting there, slowly but surely. You can see me putting in a great deal of effort with the orbital sander. I will actually get some sandpaper and straight sand it. I'm trying to get the roughness out of it because, who knew? Women are funny about splinters in the bum. But anyway, I'll sort that one out so the girls don't have to worry about splinters in their derriere, and life, the universe, and everything will be beautiful. It's very hard wood to work, and I've only just grabbed some very rough pieces because I was just slamming it together to see if I could. We can do a better job. But if you're into rustic sort of furniture, or you want a table or an outdoor bench or something like that built, let us know. Love to do it for you. I've really enjoyed it. And it's only taken a couple of days to get to that point. And I'm learning as I go, so to speak. So it'll only get quicker. But thank you to everybody who's asked about it. I've got a lot of text messages about it in the last few days. Aussie Sue, hello. God love you. Trust life, the universe, and everything is well with you. Unfortunately for your son Dale, it doesn't appear to be that way. So, folks, if you are of a praying mind, please add Dale. He's not well at the moment. This is Aussie Sue's son. I saw a post of hers this morning. So, Aussie Sue, I hope you don't mind if I brought this up. But Dale appears to be in hospital at the moment, having a bit of a hard time of it. So, prayers for him at the moment. And I hope you're dealing with it okay, darling. And if you need help in any way, just reach out. You know we're here for you. Dave O, love your thoughts. Never going to see you on Twitter, even with Elon, zero trust. I'm a bit the same way. And I have a certain perspective on these Twitter spaces that, doesn't really appeal. If I was going to do something like that, I'd make it a radio show, wouldn't I? And there is some potential for that very soon. Thank you to everybody who's sending healing through to Dale, Sunflower, and associated others. Thank you so much. All right, now let me get into a few little quick things for today. Here's a fun one. Take-home salary for staff members who will patrol mis and disinformation for ACMA will be in excess. This is the base salary, $262,000 a year. That is so they can potentially throw people like you and me in jail for 3 years because our information, regardless how well sourced, how well researched, and how truthful, will not save us from going to jail because Albo Sleazy and this god-awful friggin' woman who's now in charge of ACMA and, of course, all our lives, not working for us. They, as we know, all work for the corporation, and the corporation is going to make life very, very difficult for us. Of course, the corporation old mates are still meeting around the world. The Canadian president, God knows we all love Justin Trudeau, he caught up with this bloke recently and then said, we can't help but be inspired by Jacinda Ardern. She's a feminist. She's a fierce progressive. She's a dear friend. She's a fucking bloke. I mean, really. And if that's a shock to you folks, we got a lot more of that coming your way. Maybe not tonight, but yeah, she is a bloke. Have absolutely no doubt. So things going off in Lebanon at the moment. I was talking to a friend of mine in Melbourne who is of Lebanese descent, has friends and family in Lebanon. People in Lebanon are living in terror at the moment, living in absolute fear that anything in their house could potentially blow up. From a fridge to a phone, it doesn't really matter. They are terrified that the Americans and probably the Israelis by default have this kind of technology and is being used Well, indiscriminately. Now, I would argue that it's really not being used indiscriminately. Now, this is a suburb building. Those are secondary explosions after a missile went into that building. Sounds like a steam train taking off, but it isn't. They are secondary explosions. That place is full of God knows what. That looks like a lithium-ion battery storage going up. And it's possible that they did have lithium-ion storage for solar on the side. But listen to the heat and see the flame. That's another missile going into it, I think. But all that bang, all those secondary explosions, well, there's probably good reason that Israel are firing weapons like that into those places, because that's where Hezbollah are keeping their weapons. Of course, there will be, tragically, collateral damage, and that means civilians dying. I don't know how we get the world to come together on this, but it must begin with getting rid of all our governments, don't you think? These are the bastards that perpetrate wars. These are the bastards that run a political agenda that kills people for the dollar. And not even a dollar for them in some cases, but a dollar for the people that are running them. It is absolutely appalling. There are people who are fighting back, and recently there is a sheriff. Now, you've heard about the constitutional sheriffs in America. I'm not sure if this sheriff was a constitutional sheriff, but this sheriff went to a judge because he had a very, very serious problem.
Multiple sources are reporting that Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Steins has been arrested following that shooting at the courthouse. Sources also say Steins reportedly shot District Judge Kevin Mullins in his office at the courthouse. We know several area schools were placed on a lockdown while this was going on this afternoon, and we have a statement just in from the Kentucky Court of Justice saying it is in contact with law enforcement agencies, including Kentucky State Police. The statement goes on to say, quote, "Our deepest sympathies go out to all those impacted by this tragic event, and our thoughts and prayers are with the community during this challenging time," end quote. Here is a statement also just in from Governor Andy Beshear on social media about this shooting. It says, quote, "Sadly, I have been informed that a district judge in Letcher County was shot and killed in his chambers this afternoon. There is far too much violence in this world, and I pray there is a path to a better tomorrow."
Isn't that nice? Turns out there's more to that story. The sheriff who shot and killed a Kentucky judge today did so because the judge was raping the sheriff's underage daughter. Now, this is allegedly, of course. Predictably, DNC Governor, that's Andy Beshear, who you saw at the end of that story, previously said he hoped the family member of J.D. Vance would get pregnant due to rape, has come out in support of the judge. That's the type of courts that they've got in America. And I'm sad to say, dear viewer, that this is exactly the sort of courts we have here in Australia too. We just haven't had the opportunity yet to see it. Victorian police are complaining again. 800 vacancies, 900 out sick, stations closing, crime is up, cops are leaving, we've had enough. That's Victorian police for you. Who cares? Too little, too late. Don't leave. Do your friggin' duty. Stand up against those people making those orders against us, the people. Stand up against your senior officers who are making you feel like this, making you feel like the service you want to provide as a police officer is tainted, because it is under those officers. But here's the thing. You, even as a lowly constable, have the ability to go and arrest your senior officers. You, as a lonely constable, have no reason and no lawful excuse to follow an unlawful order. You don't have to do it. But you do. And you complain about it. Oh, there's 600 sick. We've got 800 vacancies. No, we're not paid enough for this shit. Yeah, look, I understand. Police deal with the scum of society every day. They meet people at their worst moments every day in every kind of situation. It is not an easy job. And ordinarily would support the police 100% in 99.9% of the things they do. However, all that is wiped clean and all that support disappears the moment the police pick up weapons and arm themselves against the people. And they've been doing that in Victoria consistently for the last few years. So, Victorian Police, get off your ass and do your jobs. Arrest the senior officers that are telling you to do these unlawful things against the people, or just get out of the way. You're weak. Weak. And the same can be said for our Defence Force members, who are also just following the brass's orders. Well, the brass aren't working for the Australian people. It's about time the enlisted men and women of Australia realise that. I wonder how much longer it's going to take. Too friggin' long, I suggest. There's word here that the Freemasons have been hacked. I don't know, but they reckon they've got the plans from 1950 to 2050. Well, we do know that the Freemasons did have a very, very long plan for the control of the earth, and by word, it is going very, very well to this point because they've been able to brainwash 80% of the population. Only 20% of the population is capable of critical thought. Who knew? Tell you one person who's not capable of critical thought. This prick. Albanese. They're coming after you every which way, folks. And right now, they're looking at changing negative gearing and capital gains tax policy. What does that mean? That means they're looking at charging you more money for the things that you like to do. Oh, God love them. Well, you can thank the Labor government for that. You can thank the Labor government in Queensland for all manner of hells being released at the moment. At least they're giving you a subsidy to burn your house down now, $200 for an electric scooter and $500 for an electric bike. Of course, if you charge those anywhere on your property and they catch fire and burn your property down, your insurance company is going to tell you to go jump. But you can thank the Queensland government. You get $200. You get $500. Oh, great. Get yourself into debt. They'll give you $500 on a $6,500 push bike. Wow. I'm happy about that. Looks like the records are still going for gold at the moment. I'm just on the AinsleyBullion.com.au website. 3,857.72 for gold. And the spot price for an ounce of silver is up compared to the other night. We're up about $2, a little over $2, $46.12. At the moment, platinum is at $14.26.24. Platinum is always worth a buy, folks. We've had Michael and his team on from Ainsley Bullion a number of times, and they often mention platinum, but say that there's not too many people buying it. Well, it's a really great little, if you can't afford the gold, but you can get a bit more of the silver, well, try the platinum, and it really does, return on your investment. So give that a go. Not financial advice, but if you've got a few bucks floating around, platinum's worth a go. I'm a more silver man myself, and will be availing myself of hopefully a couple of 1 ounce coins in the near future, I'm hoping. So a bit of luck. Very shortly, I'll be able to pop in and catch up with Michael and the team too. I was actually meant to do that last week, but it didn't quite work out, unfortunately. Joe Biden has been on stage. Now, we know that his handlers are looking after him in so many beautiful and different ways, mainly keeping him well away from public, well away from press, well away from television cameras. Well, even the president can't be kept away from the cameras, even though he's not going to be the president for much longer. He's a lame duck president at the moment, one-legged, swimming around in circles. Even he has decided to put his foot down because, after all, he is the president. And what did they say about Joe Biden and kids? Never put them on stage. Never put them on stage together.
You know, I thought when I got to be president, I'd get to do things that I want to do, but my staff tells me what I can't do. But I'm going to do it anyway. All the young women, young kids out there that are out there, come on up and do this when we stand behind me when we do this. Come on.
All the young women, all the young kids out there, come up and stand behind me. Now, you know what happens when they go and stand behind him. He grabs them and he smells them and he feels them. I found the interesting part about that was him saying, my staff don't let me do this anymore, but I'm the president, I'm going to do it. And it sounds like a bloke who's, well, I'm only going to be president for another month or so. I'm going to do whatever the hell I like. Bring those kids up. He is one sick bastard. That's all I'd like to say. One sick bastard. There are plenty of them, sadly. Plenty of them. So a quick chat about last night. Last night we went into what we thought was a My Place meeting at CSI in Southport. Turned out it really wasn't a My Place meeting, but it was a meeting on renewables, and people dead set against them. So worthwhile turning up to at the very least. And Matt Canavan spoke. Senator Matt Canavan spoke last night. He spoke very strongly in favour of coal, as did everybody else in the room. And some of the figures on coal versus gas and the production costs there to get the same amount of energy from coal as you would from gas is quite significant. We're talking like a $5 or $6 per megajoule production. It is quite significant. But of course, right now we're going with the fans. Right now we're going with the wind turbines. Right now, it's just not working. Is it? Bill Hilly. You're not too far from the truth. I was going to have a steak. Thankfully, I didn't order that. Cass had barramundi, and I went with the cheeseburger because I thought it'd be quick, easy, fast. We'll be in and out. How long does it take to cook the fish? How wrong? How wrong? So we were about 45, 50 minutes, I think, before we got fed. But even still, the cheeseburger was very nice. I'll be back for the steak. It was a very nice feed. And I believe that there may well be pork ribs in the offing tonight at the community building thing that I'm off to. Now, I'll explain more about community building, but what we're doing here is building our own little community here at this property, but that has a wider view to being able to help the wider community. And I hope you're doing the same kind of thing in your immediate communities. It is only through networking and getting to know the people around you that they and you can get a bit of an eye and might be able to find someone that is willing, ready, and more particularly able to stand for us in the future of whatever parliament or government we're going to have. Clearly, the current ones don't work terribly well. We're going to need some changes, but we need to staff them. And I'm still copping flack from old pirates and drunks who simply do not understand that they do not present a credible alternative in the Queensland election. They're not. We can argue till we're blue in the face about the legality of the elections and all that sort of crap. We can only deal with what we can deal with and what we are given to deal with. And at the moment, we don't have enough of us to walk away from the election to make it useless. So what can we do? And in Queensland's case, all we can do is hope to gain some level of control via the crossbench. Now, until the freedom movement stands up and has people like you standing up in the community where I'll come and support every bit, we will get as many of you elected to a crossbench here in Queensland. If you want to do it for this election, I'm all for it. Let's do it. But I haven't been inundated with people who've said, yeah, gee, I'd love to do that, Carl. Instead, I've been attacked. I've been abused. I've been called names. I've been slandered. What I haven't been presented with is a solution. All right? I've heard whinging, moaning, crying, threats, all sorts of crap. Well, I'm trying to find a solution. Trying to find a solution. Now, is it the best solution? No, I wouldn't say it is. The best solution is you getting up and helping. You getting up and standing. You being the leader in your community to become a leader of our community. That's the best solution in my mind. But we haven't got too many of you doing it. Please, if you want to do it, email me. We will get behind you. We will support you. We will promote you. But until that time, what are we left with? Because if we do nothing, Stephen Miles or the Christofouli bloke are going to get elected again. And either way, just a different wing of the same lame duck. And if there isn't a healthy representation on the crossbench, then whoever gets to govern in Queensland will have carte blanche to do whatever they like. And we've had enough of that in Queensland. They've been doing it for far too long. But it's only going to work if we can get people to stand up. Better people to run. And maybe then, once we're in the system, we can change the system to something that is fairer, to something that is not based on a lie, but is in fact based on fact and honour and common law. It's just getting going. It's just getting the guts to do it, to say, yes, that person can be me. Now, I understand, and it's probably awful of me calling people weak because they don't stand up. Look, a lot of people are not public speakers. A lot of people are not confident in crowds. A lot of people just don't like the thought of having to campaign, to politic. Well, we have to get over ourselves a little bit here, folks. The confidence will come. I will help you build confidence when it comes to public speaking. It's very easy. Trust me, I've been helping people with it for years and years and years. We will not leave you out to dry. But sadly, I think Bill Hilley has probably got it right. Apathy. We are lazy. She'll be right, mate. Somebody else will do it. Well, the Anzacs in Gallipoli are all dead. And we are rapidly following them. But we don't even realize we're being shot. We don't even realize we are being felled at a phenomenal rate. It's ridiculous. But we need to get together. We need to find each other in this darkness, in this dark time. We need to find each other and build our network through towns, villages, and cities in this nation. And little by little, we can take the power back and put the people's voice back into Parliament. We can do that at the Queensland election. But will we? And then we're just going to sit here and moan again for another 4 years about what these pricks are going to do to us. It is not going to work. If we cannot come together, if we cannot somehow find our intestinal fortitude to stand up in the service of others, the service of the people in our street, in our town, in our city, in our state, then we are doomed to be the batteries of the elite forever. And some of us are going to live longer lives as a battery than many others. Well, I don't know about you. I don't want to be a battery for the elite. There's a lot of things I do want to be, but that ain't one of them. But we can only do it by uniting and growing the message, getting more people behind us and picking up, as much as it pains me to say it, the power at the voting ballot, at the box. And we have a significant, God, I hate these words, voting block. Is it significant, though? Because we talk into kettle drums a lot, and that echo is pretty loud. Maybe we are just the 20% that can see clearly, the 80% that have no critical thinking skills, the 80% that don't want to think about the alternative because it's just too hard, the 80% that don't want to make a decision to change because that might mean they've got to develop some balls and be brave and stand up for something they truly do believe in, rather than just offer the platitude of, I'm a freedom fighter. So I really hope that, these nights when we talk about these things, somebody out there is getting the itch to stand and join and lead. Not that we need leaders as such, nobody should be following. But at this point, we need people to stand up and say, yes, I'm prepared to be of service. Are you prepared to be of service? I'm going to a community building event shortly. In fact, very shortly. In fact, right now I've got to go. And that's what this is about. We're finding people in communities who are capable, willing, and want to help rather than just talk about it because they feel good standing on the edge, on the periphery. Oh, yeah, it's all going well. All right, folks, I'm going to love you and leave you. Got to go. Got to be at this thing, and I've still got to go and have a shower, so a bit messy. Pete, the BHP thing. Yeah. Go to the guys at Prospect Hill Mine. There won't be a drag show back there for a little while, I would hope. I hope you all have a good night. Tomorrow, depending on the weather, it's likely to be pouring rain here. If that's the case, there might be a show in the morning. If I can get a couple of these interviews, particularly happening overnight again. If you haven't already done so, there is an 8-part docu-series on Julian Assange that is well worth watching at julianassange.com. Is Julian Assange alive? Was it Julian Assange that got freed? Is Julian Assange actually married to Stella? Are those kids his kids? Some very interesting questions being posed at julianassange.com, and Chief Sands, the author of all of that, hopefully will join me here in the not too distant future once they figure out they don't have to turn the camera on. They are Americans, so, not terribly smart. I apologize. That's probably not the best way to say those sorts of things, but yeah, weird. All right, be safe on the roads. You know where the dickheads are.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's rock!